there were ignorant people for 300,000 years before racism was created. Let's just think of that. There was ignorant people for a long time, and nobody thought to be racist until it was time to take Africa's resources and exploit Africans to build empires. When that idea came around, then all of a sudden racism comes about. But for a long time, there was a lot of ignorant people. Nobody thought to put racism together. Racism is not natural. It is something that was created to justify the cognitive dissonance of those that wanted to exploit Africa, but also make it Africans' fault that they were being exploited. So they wanted to, because you can't dehumanize people and at the same time see them as human. So you have to say, oh, you're less intelligent. You're more primitive people. You're very tribal, less advanced people. So that's the reason why, we have to, keep all this gold we took from your land and keep it to ourselves. You just wouldn't know what to do with this, Peace and power to all the descendants of my ancient mother. My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. What's going on, my brothers and sisters? Welcome to the live if you're joining us on YouTube. My TikTok is BIGBROLGND. You can join us there. Tap on the top right notification bell to be notified when I go live. Back again on another Monday. Back again. Up here to raise your consciousness one day at a time. One day of melanin at a time. One melanated day at a time. What's going on? Peace to all the family that's been coming through, liking the live, joining the stage. We've been having interesting conversations. Very interesting conversations. Just as a reminder to those that are new, my entire platform is dedicated to advanced level Pan-Africanism. Advanced level Pan-Africanism. Peace, Kathina. My page, all of my platforms, whether you find me on Twitter, YouTube, anywhere, BIGBROLGND. All of my platforms are dedicated to advanced level Pan-Africanism. We do not argue the ideology. We may argue about how we get there. But if you want to learn more, please join us. The Discord is available to y'all. The link is in my bio, b1initiative.org. You can join us there. We're a nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? Do you really think these things, or are you just trying to get engagement? I guess, the reason I would put something up there is because I know I can defend it. And I know that it would be a great talking point for brothers and sisters to learn more about critical thinking in the context of Black oppression. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? If you agree, disagree, then let me know. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. You're right. It's just love. What is just love? What is just love? Let me know what you mean by that. It's just love. I feel like you're a little bit closer. You're a little bit closer. Interracial refers to a race-based caste system of oppression, right? So how can there be violence and love in the same space? You know what I'm saying? How can there be violence and love in the same space? What about the biracial children who have loving parents? You can have children and not have love. You know that, right? You can love your child And it's not interracial love. You know that, right? So how can we have, did we get justice, y'all? Do we have justice yet? Do we have justice? Remember George Floyd? Everyone was outside marching. No justice, no peace. F the police, stuff like that. When did we get justice? If we don't got justice, then we don't got peace, right? Because Martin Luther King said that true peace is not the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. That's what we get, no justice, no peace. So if we're not in the presence of justice, then we don't have peace. How do we get to love? How do we skip over peace and get to love in the midst of war? That's really what I'm drawing out here. How do we get to love, but we still have medical racism? How do we get to love, but we still have mass incarceration? How do we get to love, but we still have police brutality? How do we get to love, but we still have economic disenfranchisement? How did we get to love, but we still have redlining? How did we get to love, and we have all these other things going on in our community? How did we get to love? We didn't even get to peace yet, but we got to love. Now, of course, there's people that can be in love. You know what I'm saying? You can feel a feeling. Nobody's going to invalidate your emotions. But is it love or is it Stockholm syndrome? If I were to kidnap a woman and put her in my bathroom and not feed her, not clothe her, not just lock her up in there, and I told her I loved her, didn't improve her conditions, didn't change her environment, didn't help her get up on her feet and maybe set her free or anything like that, but I told her I loved her and she told me she loved me back, y'all would say that's Stockholm syndrome. So until the conditions of black people have been improved, how can we say we have love? How can we love and fighting at the same time? Kit Kat, what's going on, sister?
Um, um, I just wanted to, well, you kind of started to touch on it, but I wanted to say, is it fair to say that this is mostly true with like black-white interracial relationships, or do you feel like it's true with, I guess, interracial relationships that include where both parties are like people of color, or just anybody else but white people?
Name a community where anti-blackness does not exist.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
You know,
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying. Because originally that's where I went to. Because I'm like, yeah, I get this in that sense, especially for white tea people. And, again, it would be like name a society or group of people where they didn't like colonize or abuse, or where racism doesn't exist in those spaces. But no, yeah, I guess you're right as well. Okay.
if even before colonization, let's say Japan, if anti-blackness didn't exist in Japan, then people would still be black. At some point, they said we're not going to continue, mingling with them, and eventually their genes got more and more recessive, right? Because if you have a black granddaddy, a lot of them would come out looking like Steph Curry. So
Right.
at some point, they decided to separate themselves. So across the world, anti-blackness is a thing. White folks and Europeans were the first ones to codify it into a system of world domination. But it exists in all other cultures and all other groups. So when we say there's no such thing as interracial love, what we're talking about is interracial thinking of race is not a neutral term like people like to think it is. People like to think race is just a neat little category that we put people into. It don't mean hate or nothing like that. No, no, no. It's just, I'm white, you're black, this person is indigenous. It's just, little neat little categories. These are not natural categories. These are categories of oppression. This is a caste system built to keep one race superior and all others inferior. So when you look at it in context, this is like saying there's no such thing as hate love. This is not, it's just that we've been so conditioned to look at race as something as a neutral category that we don't think any deeper. And the problem is that in order to feel like there can be interracial love, you have to not acknowledge black oppression. You need to ignore that. You need to ignore European violence in order to get to some point where interracial love is a thing. You need to say, oh, there is no more racial oppression. It's all over. So thus there can be love, because there can't be love and conflict in the same place. So, yeah.
I agree with that 1000%. All right.
All right. Thanks for coming up, sister. What's going on, Timothy?
Yeah, out here living lavish. How's it going, family?
I'm well, brother. He said he's living lavish. Me too, man. Loving lavish life. Did you want to speak on the topic, brother?
Let's see. There's no such thing as interracial love. Yeah. There's no such thing as that. I mean, there's way too much. There's way too many dynamics that need to be taken into account if we're actually going to be having a conversation about that. Because technically speaking, we all operate within a YT supremacist system. So, I mean, if we really want to look at it from that kind of aspect, then that would effectively mean that every single person of African ancestry in the entirety of the United States essentially has Stockholm syndrome if they're getting involved with YT individuals. Because if you have an entire system that oppresses you, teaches you only that YTness and getting close to YTness or allowing YTness to enter you or to enter YTness somehow gives you access to a higher thing, then that in and of itself is, I mean, that's an oppressive system. That doesn't sound like anything that's like, hey, you made the choice of your own volition. That's literally just an entire system teaching you that one thing is supposed to be, beneficial for you, when in reality it never was. And I mean, that sounds equivalent to a person being locked up in a basement, and then all of a sudden the person that has done the locking up of them comes in and says, hey, I love you, just like you mentioned before in several examples. And that person says, oh, I love you back, but they're still chained up to a wall. Like, that's not equivalent to love. That's quite literally just, okay, I have no choice but to embrace the person who's brutalized me because I've effectively been brainwashed by them being brutal. So.
Yeah, that is another thing. Many people called out Harvey Weinstein for what he did with women that he would hire, right? Because the issue was the power dynamic between him being the boss and having power, and those that didn't have power to act on him, as he had power to act on their careers. So they couldn't get him fired, but he could fire them. And that's what made it unethical. Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, same thing. So when we look at race, is how it's set up, where it is a caste system. There is a number of books that talk about this. A caste system, a hierarchy, if you will, of oppression, different categories going top to bottom, with who at the top and who at the bottom. I don't even have to tell y'all who is who. But that being the case, there is a power dynamic to any interracial relationship. That means that there's an unethical power dynamic as long as that power dynamic exists. And that power dynamic does still exist. And if you can acknowledge that, then you understand how there cannot be love and a power dynamic at the same time. Harvey Weinstein doesn't get to say he loved the women he did that to. So let's go to the next guest. Londi, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
38, black, she, her. Well, am I going to be able to speak freely without being kicked because I don't agree with the prompt?
Yeah, you can speak somewhat freely. Don't be disrespectful.
I wasn't disrespectful last
We'll let
time,
you
but one of
finish your
them.
statement, and then I'll rebut.
Okay, I wasn't being um disrespectful last time. I got kicked because like my husband is YT, and I guess have a different mind set on the whole topic.
Not
And I was,
different. It's,
huh?
you said it was a different mindset.
Yeah.
What makes it different?
Well, I mean, I guess a contrary mindset to what you believe. Like, there's no
Okay.
such thing as interracial love, and he just like he's him, and I'm me, and I feel like
Individual love.
individual love. Yeah,
Oh,
like I
okay,
love
well,
him
that's
as
on
a
an
I love him
individual basis.
right. I love him as an individual. It doesn't matter to
That's
me
not what we're
what's
talking about.
okay, but he's white tea, and that was be quote unquote
Yeah, we're
interracial.
not. No, but don't. I mean, now you're attributing him to a whole, but you're
Hmm.
talking about him as an individual. If you
He
want to
is
talk about him as an individual, we can do that. But we're not
okay.
talking about your individual anecdotes. We're talking about groups of people in a caste system of oppression. So we're not. We're talking. If you want to talk about how your husband exists within the greater caste system of oppression, then we could talk about that. But we can't talk about your husband as a whole.
Okay.
As
All
a,
right.
as, I'm sorry, as a singular person.
As a singular person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Oh well. I guess my question for this is like, didn't we all originate from a black woman, Lucy, the oldest fossil ever found? Do you agree on that or no?
Yeah.
So aren't we all just like different shades of the same thing?
I would say if you want to convince anyone of that, convince those that split everyone up into different races and
I
said
mean,
that they were
because like, okay,
why
let's
like
say.
why would you come to explain that to me?
No, I'm just saying, like, let's just say, like, something happens on April
What
8th and, like, everybody turns the same color. It's going to be something else that divides us. It's going to be something else that separates us.
who told you that?
Who told you that? Society, world,
Okay, what
worldviews.
society?
Because it's not like right now there's black people and there's the other type of black people. There's upper class whites, there's lower class whites. It's always going to be something to divide us because if we can separate and divide, we can conquer. We can't be together as a whole because why would we be together as a whole? We will be too powerful. So we'll have religion, we'll have classism, we'll have every other thing that will separate and divide us if we all woke up the same color as Lucy tomorrow.
But who benefits from the divide?
Whoever has the power right now.
Who has the power right now?
Well, here's the thing. Like right now, yeah, there is a system. But I'm just saying that if we all
So
come from one
let's
thing,
get to that point and see what happens. Let's get to the point where people are divisive because I wear glasses, or people are divisive because of how I pray, more than they're divisive on how brown my skin is and where the country of my or the land of my ancestors is. So let's get to that point and then we can talk about it.
okay. So as you said, people are. I'm sorry.
Like let's get to the point where when I walk in a room, instead of seeing a 6'4" black man, people say, "Oh man, there's a glasses wearer, man. Oh, might have to
So
pull him over
can I ask
later.
a question? Have you
That's so
been
tight.
talked?
He's wearing
Right?
glasses."
No, wait. Question: Have you been by your own, not by anybody else, by people who look like you? I know as a person that loves marble and that stayed in chess club throughout elementary school all the way up into college, that I was always quote unquote different. Have you, sir, been talked about by people who look like you because you are different and you don't have the same mindset?
To be honest, this is probably why you got kicked last time because you would rather talk about black people
I'm not talking about black people.
being
I'm
the
just saying in general.
perpetrators.
You just asked the
No,
question, and I'm
So,
asking
so
you a
Londi,
question.
Londi, I have a question.
She's
Yeah,
trying to
sir.
spin it around.
Yeah, Londi, I have a question for you. So you do realize that at one point in time in human existence that the entire world was black. Like
I
you
do.
know that, right? Okay. All right. And so now if we go back to the time periods in which all of humans pretty much were heavily melanated, You do also realize that that was the time periods in which the most civilization advancements and as well as like global constructs had ever been built in all of human history. Like that's what jump started modern civilization. You know that, right?
No, I don't know that.
Okay.
And
Well,
I'm
now you
very
do.
open to hearing that.
Okay. Well, now you do.
Okay.
However, the very moment that the very moment that the construct of race was developed, the very moment that the construct of well, essentially like whiteness was developed, and the very moment that they established power, you do realize that they, under their rule, under their power regime, under their constructs, has been the most mass unalivings of human beings in all of human history.
Yeah.
Okay, Timothy, going back,
No, no,
aren't they
no. I mean,
all one? Like,
do you
don't
know
they?
that? Yes,
So is it just
Londi,
the
Londi,
lighter?
You
Londi, do you
gotta
know
let.
that? Yes or no?
No, I could agree to that, but I don't know that.
Okay. All right. So we can
Why
agree
don't
to
you
that
know
base.
that? You're married to one of them. That's wild.
Yeah.
You said
I
that.
mean,
That's
here's the
wild.
thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. There's a man
It's
in
your
jail right
husband's
now that
culture.
raped other man. I mean, sorry, that raped other man right now that looks like us. So there's every shade of evilness.
I
Let's
know.
get that right.
I know you
You're
see
talking. Wait, hold
evilness
up,
in your
Londi. You're
own
talking
shade. That's why
about.
your husband ain't your shade. We know that you see evilness in yourself.
Why
We
do I
already.
see
You don't got to
evilness in
explain that to
myself?
us. We know that. We know that y'all see it that way. You know what I'm saying? That's why you with him. It's all right.
Yeah, like
That's that is
Londi.
so weird.
The problem is that historically, as well as like just historically, we can literally point clearly to a very, very long standing history of how
Hey,
brutal
I'm
and
good. I'm
how
good. How
like
you doing?
unimaginably barbaric these specific people groups have been towards everybody else of a different skin complexion. Like they have been responsible for the mass unalivings of people over in
'Cause
Australia. They've been responsible for the mass unalivings of the indigenous Americans. They've been responsible especially for the mass unalivings of Black African people.
So we agree
And
that
to
we all
say
come
that
from one person.
and to
We
say and
agree that we
to
all come
completely
from black people.
Londi to completely ignore that history and just say, oh well, you know what, I found the one that might not do it to me, so therefore I'm just going to open myself up to them, even though, and then do absolutely no research into their culture, no research into who they are, into no research into finding out as to why you may actually psychologically be so attached to them or feel normal with them rather than normal with your own people. Like, come on.
All right. Yeah.
Lonnie,
I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna go to the next guest. Hold on, Nina. I'm gonna need y'all to tap like. We gotta get to 10K likes. So keep tapping like, y'all. All the people that have never had pumpkin pie a day in their life, please tap like. You know what I'm saying? If you can see your lips when your mouth is closed like this, then tap like, tap like, tap like. If you can still see your lips when your mouth is closed, then tap like, tap like. Appreciate you. Peace to all the queens and the kings in the room. What's going on? We're gonna go to the next guest. Nina, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Nina Maria.
see, okay, there we go. There we go. Sorry, it wasn't working. Like my phone's speaking. So I am an African American woman. I am 26. I am single and I go by she and her. Can I say this is my first live that I've done? Been able to like share my opinions. I'm really excited. I really want to thank you, brother. Um, so I think, and I'm not to like discredit Lonnie for what she said, but like if you I felt like they wouldn't have said what they said to you if you would have just came and admitted like, yeah, there is a power struggle between, interracial love. I honestly, and I know it's so weird and interesting, I have never dated a black man. So all of my relations have been interracial and there is a power struggle. And a lot of people aren't going to come in and admit and be like, "Oh, well, no, love is just love and everyone's equal and I see my husband equally." Like that's not true. Like yes, there is a caste system and Black American people are literally at the bottom. What you were talking about before, like, oh, anti-Blackness is a worldwide thing. And somebody in the comments had mentioned, they were like, oh, what about Black and Hispanic people? Okay. And I think what Lonnie was trying to get at was saying, like, oh, well, really the whole entire world is black, really, or brown, as you want to, what people will say. Everybody is really brown. And obviously you have white people, which is, later she said what she was talking about, Lucy, and yes, we all come from the same person, and being white is technically a genetic mutation, of lack of melanin and stuff like that. Like, yeah, but that's not the point that we were trying to get at and talk about. So my point is that yes, in an interracial relationship, there is a power struggle. Yes, there is a, okay, well, to society, you're superior and I'm inferior. And I'm not saying it has to feel like that in your interracial relationship. I'm not saying that, people behind closed doors in those interracial relationships play, oh, well, I'm the master and you're the slave. No, that's not the point. That's not what people are trying to get at. People are wanting us to acknowledge that, um to recognize, like, yeah, like, Black Americans and other Black indigenous groups are oppressed. And, and I think that people in interracial relationships don't necessarily acknowledge that. And then when you are in a interracial relationship and you do acknowledge those things, that causes a fight. They want to walk away from the relationship. They don't want to talk about it. In our society today, we don't talk about those things, because sometimes it is so. Interracial relationships are more accepted than they were back in the 70s, back in the 80s, and so forth. So, and I get it. Like, y'all are trying to convince her and tell Lonnie and be like, oh, well, Lonnie, like, it's this way. Like, she knows it. She's living through it. We have lived through this uh power dynamic struggle or whatever. Like, it's actively, and especially it's happening in interracial kids. They're like, oh, well, am I white or am I black? Does people care? Or, oh, can I relate to this group of people, or this group of people? Like, people are in this generation are definitely confused because they're so focused on an identity that sometimes doesn't even matter. I know some people aren't religious. I um identify myself as religious in spirit, and I feel like the only identity that matters is a child of God. But there are oppression issues that are going on. Sorry if I'm talking too much, but what
No,
I've
I
seen
think
in our community, that also there is a power dynamic in our own Black community. It's a colorism system. Like, oh well, even though
where
we're
does
both this Black
colorism in our
couple.
community come from?
You said, I'm sorry?
Where does colorism in our community come from? Where did it get its
It
origin?
no, yeah, it definitely stems from, the caste system, the white, feeling like superiority and, colonialism and colonization. Yeah, colorism stems from that. For sure.
So, just like racism, is a problem that started outside of our community and is not only perpetuated by us just because we chose to wake up and be colorist one day, but because there is a power dynamic that we have no control of, where lighter skinned individuals in our community do have a little bit more of a privilege than those that have a proximity to Afrocentric
Exactly. And that's where,
phenotype.
yeah, exactly. And that's
And
where when you get interracial relationships that are like, oh, well, Black and Hispanic. So, say if I was with a Hispanic man, of course, the power struggle or the dynamic would be like, oh, well, he's more accepted into society or into, higher in this caste because, oh, he is a lighter skin, even though really we're both brown. I have like
all right, I don't want you
a
to go too
medium brown
far,
color skin.
sister, please. So, all right. Uh, the other thing that you mentioned, I wanted to bring up. Dang, you mentioned something else. Oh yes, in their private lives, it can feel like equal love. You know what I'm saying? If you remove society, and that's Eurocentric, and a lot of people don't understand that. Romanticism, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the late 18th century, came up with the idea of romance that we now call, romance. That's just the universal now concept of love because, Eurocentric things are just seen as neutral and universal themes now. But Romanticism is Romeo and Juliet, head over heels, falling in love. This is romanticism. Emotions over logic. I love you, you love me. The outside world doesn't matter. when you're alone with your, non-black or, whatever kind of lover you got, y'all can be equal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no outside influence. There's no power dynamic that's deciding who's in charge in that moment. But let the police show up. It might be different, especially if you look like me. But anyway, that's where it becomes different. Y'all are equal when you're both horizontal. As soon as you stand up, it's a different story. And that's what Jonathan Majors had to learn the hard way recently. He ran away from that woman like she was Freddy Krueger. And he called the police on her and still got convicted. So, when they were alone together, it was no problem. They felt very equal. But all she has to do is call. I mean, he's richer than her. He's more famous than her. Look at Donald Trump. He's rich and famous. We can't get nothing to stick on him. You know what I'm saying? So just having the complexion for protection, you know what I'm saying, and the tears of your peers can get you, what they call justice. Let's go to the next guest. Appreciate you, Nina, for coming up. I think you did a better job than the guest before you. But I do hope you find a brother soon. You know what I'm saying? I wish the best for you.
I'm open. Thank you for that.
You can find you one. You know what I'm saying? You could be more intentional, But all right. Meme, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Sending brotherly energy her way. Brothers, I don't know where y'all. The brothers probably run. Whenever a black woman say that she ain't never dated a brother before, just like when a black man say he never been with a sister, it's usually him, right? Am I tripping? Like when a black man say, I ain't never dated no black woman before.
I thought it was very problematic.
Okay, I'm here now. Oh my God. I was driving down the road. I had to get over. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
I'm a black woman, and I'm 54. I'm 54 years old, and my mom was black, and my dad was white. And my mom, she took a beating for that, because she was talking about something awful for her decision. But eventually, my biological father, he was never put on my birth certificate because my grandmother, my big mama, she was like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. Go with the next guy who was just happened to be a friend of hers who was a black man. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna just talk about it. I'm real talk. There is no equalism when you're in an interracial marriage, an interracial relationship. I'm gonna be frank with you because I married a white man and had 2 children. And I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't equal. It wasn't equal at all. Even behind closed doors, it wasn't equal. Because see, at some point, somebody gonna get mad. At some point, somebody gonna say the N-word. At some point, somebody gonna bring up your history, your past, as far as race and so forth and so on. It's gonna happen. So ain't no equalism anywhere, even behind closed doors. I know that for a fact. My mother-in-law, I would just name her Satan, because that's what she was. Because she let me know every time that I put her foot on her in her house that who I was and who I wasn't. And I would go over there just to make sure that my children wasn't treated some way unfairly because of, who I was. I just wanted to make sure that she didn't cross that line. And one time she did cross that line. One time she did. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna keep it real justice-like. I told her she had 4 children. She still do. And well, she did now, thank God. Anyway, she said something, and I told her, I said, I tell you what, I know you saying this because your son is sitting right here and he ain't open his mouth because he's scared of you. And your other son is sitting over there, and your other son is sitting right there, and your daughter is sitting right over there. I said, but before they get to me, I'm going to get you. and I'm gonna rip your tongue out your mouth. You hear me? Now you say it one more time. Say it again so I know that what you said was real. Because I'm gonna I'm gonna send you to where you need to go, and when you get there, my ancestors is gonna tell you, did Carol send you? That you gonna say, she gonna say, yes, she did. Well, actually, you gonna nod your head because you ain't got no tongue, because I ain't ripped it out your mouth. Do you understand what I'm saying, lady? Now I'm gonna be front with you. Real front, and I'm talking real talk. I know I have learned words to say about certain people that are non-melanonin in a whole lot of ways. I know how to break them down, pick them back up, throw them, chunk them. Hey, I know what to do when I want to do it, because I've had 30 years of living in the trenches with some situations that, you know, I wouldn't say I don't know if I would have faced it if I would have been a black man. I don't know, because me being the way and looking the way that I look, some people, they look at me sideways before they say anything. And then once I open my mouth, they say, oh yeah, she a black woman. I get it now. So my looks throw people off from time to time, and that's fine. I get that. But at the end of the day, I am who I am. And I had a wonderful black mom. And I told him, if he ever being so much as to look at her crooked and say her name wrong and call her out her name in any way, form, or fashion, I'm going to mail him to his mom in the smallest envelope I can buy. Because I just don't play that. So it's not no fairity. Being in an interracial relationship, people need to understand that. Please don't get offended when somebody, if you get in an interracial relationship, don't get offended when he say the N-word to you. Because guess what? You open the door and let it in the house. So when it get out of line, it's going to do what it do. Because that root run deep. It's deep, and it's there, and it ain't going nowhere. Because they grew up hearing it. They grew up knowing it. And they stepped out of line for whatever reason they stepped out of line for to get with you. Maybe to piss mama off. Maybe to see if that what they said was true. I don't know. My husband did it because he thought black women was easy. I'm gonna keep it real, because I think people don't. He thought black women was easy. That black women, we just, you know, we like what we, black women, we just do what we do. But then he found out that wasn't the case, because with me, he found out I'm high maintenance, and now I'm not easy. See, what got you was, you thought you was getting a half or something, but you was getting a whole, but it looked like a half. And that's where you effed up. You should have looked at the other girl, because when you looked at me, you thought, oh yes, she's gonna understand us. No, I don't understand you. I never will. I could never understand stupid. So, and that's what you are. So let's get that. I'm gonna just keep it right, and I'm gonna keep it tight. When you are behind closed doors, even when you horizontal, they gonna say something stupid, even when you in that moment with them. They gonna say something dumb. And at that point, you gonna have to be so into it, and he gonna have to be so good at it, you let that pass. And then once you get up and think about it while you fixing you a sandwich because he sleep, and you say, wait a minute, did he say that to me? And now you're mad. Now you going in there looking at it like, okay, when you wake up, your life ain't gonna be too right. It ain't gonna be too bright. It's gonna get real dark in here. And I'm gonna school you, because that right there, that never should came out your mouth. Even in that moment, it never should have came out your mouth. So I ain't gonna sit here and tell nobody interracial love you can't have it, because you can. Yeah, we are individuals, but you must understand we all come from a history and a past where we are taught a certain thing, and that don't leave us because we be with somebody of a different race. It just don't. It's always gonna be there, and it's there in your genes, in your genetics, and it's what you've been taught. Now, on the other hand, he was a good provider. He took care of his kids. He did what he was.
We gotta go to the next guest. You going on, but we appreciate you.
But you know, but
You
I'm
letting us
telling you,
know.
I'm telling you what, I'm telling you that I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with it. But the only part I don't disagree with is love at the end of the day. And if you are in an interracial relationship, make sure you don't go into it thinking that would never happen to you. That those words won't come
How's love,
from
love?
their mouth.
How's love,
It
love?
will.
How can someone love you in the midst of their family oppressing you?
His family didn't oppress me, baby. They didn't oppress me. They tried to.
See, she
You see,
puts it down to the individual.
Yeah.
So
oppression
now
is
you're focusing on individual.
no,
Honestly, you should have just kept.
They didn't
Hold
do
on.
that. Nobody oppressed me. It was never that way
Nah,
in
yes
my
they do. They
situation.
do. As long as you black, you oppressed. But
Oh
if
no,
you,
I was never.
yes, you was. You were. You yes, you was. Black oppression didn't stop. No one signed a legal document and said, "Hey, everybody can be anti-black to any other black person except for meme self, whatever your name is." You should have left the first half of that speech and just kept it there. You ain't have to start. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when the devil start coming out. We gotta go to the next guest. I'm not even going to unpack that with you. I appreciate you for coming up here. All right, D, did you want to mention anything? Shaka funny, man.
All right, y'all. Let's activate the Holy Spirit, because baby, she said that mother-in-law was a demon. Holy
Right.
Spirit, activate. Woo! Turn it on. Let's activate it.
Oh, okay. All right.
You
Hold
gotta
on.
be living in the world of delusion. You gotta be living in the world of delusion and think that, and seeing it firsthand, experience it firsthand, it's not a problem. Love is love. When you just got called an N-word and mistreated. Holy
That's
Spirit.
crazy.
Holy Spirit, activate. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome in to Brother Legends Live. You guys, you are in Brother Legends Live. I need you to tap that screen. Tap, tap, tap. Power, tap that screen. We need to get to 25K ASAP. That means now. As fast as y'all was getting some of them checks that y'all weren't supposed to be getting, I need you to be tapping that screen. Share the live. Invite your friends, your frenemies. Invite the poon enemies. Invite them all. We're here for the chat. You guys, make sure that you're subscribing here and on Brother Legends Twitter, as well with b1initiative.org, where you can learn to be great. Y'all need to tune in on Discord and learn something now. Most importantly, Brother Legends didn't put the Cash App up, but you guys need to subscribe. Subscribe to b1initiative.org, as well as making sure you subscribe here and Twitter. But I need you guys to make sure that you send a little cash in today. Drop that cash in. What is it? Bringing down Babylon. Bring down Babylon. Go ahead and put that in the thing. Put it up top, Brother Legend, so we can get some donations. Donate $1, $2, $10. We're building something great, and we need your support. If y'all want to be a part of the team, join the Discord. We're looking for new members that are ready to be a part of a future of adventure. Are you ready to make history with other Black people? Tune in, join the Discord. Timothy, if you can drop the b1initiative.org. We're looking for people that are ready to invest some of their time and volunteer. If you're ready to be a part of the team, there's different jobs that we need you guys to fill in, and you can be a part of history. We're trying to make America great. Psych. We're trying to make Black people great, y'all. And we're trying to celebrate our people in our, Timothy's words, Africanity. Get active, get in the chat, and make sure y'all join Discord. Until again, y'all tap up. I'm tapping out. Brother Legend, put the Cash App up.
I'm putting it up. Appreciate you, Sister D. Yes, y'all. We're a nonprofit, b1initiative.org. Check us out. The link is in my bio. If you want to meet with us, we have meetings on Sundays. We're building Sankofapedia, a free, comprehensive online Afrocentric encyclopedia, kind of like Wikipedia, but much better because it's from an Afrocentric perspective as opposed to a Eurocentric perspective, posing as a neutral perspective. There's no such thing as a neutral take on history. The same way there's no such thing as an unbiased news report. All news reports are going to have some sort of bias. All history has some sort of bias. As African people are the first people to ever exist and have the most history, why is their side of history not told? Only Eurocentrism is told as the neutral way to look at history. So we're building Sankofapedia. If you want to know more, I have a video about it pinned to my profile, and you can check out our nonprofit. All donations are tax deductible, b1initiative.org. All right, Destiny, Give us your age, your race, your pronouns, please.
Hi, I'm 31. I am racial, black and white.
That's not a race, but I hear you.
I mean, I just call it what it is. I mean, it's black is black, though.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
look black, so that's what it is. If you want to get technical.
Uh-huh.
But, and my pronouns are just she, her.
All right, talk to us.
So I am married to a white man. And I have had my trials and tribulations with men in the past that I've dated. But my husband, I think the biggest thing that I love about him is that he loves me for me, because I did have issues in the past with that, similar to what that lady was saying, nothing about no N-words or nothing like that, but she did mention that basically some white men will basically treat you like you're stupid, like they can treat you any kind of way and you're just not going to say anything about it. Most white men can be intimidated by a black woman, and we're considered aggressive, hostile. And that's what really upset me in the past with the past men, is me sticking up for myself, me speaking on things that I know are wrong. It's not me being aggressive. And I'm sorry that you feel that way. With my current husband, he understands the emotion behind anything that I talk about, whether it be an argument or, an opinion, etc. He doesn't consider my anger to be aggressive or hostile. And he's always willing to understand how things can be for me, instead of it being instead of how things are for us. Because he's like, hey, we go out and we have people stare. And I'm like, well, that's nothing compared to, to anything, in my opinion. They can stare all they want. But his parents, or what I call undercover racists, I feel like they would never admit that they are. Their grandchildren, he has 3 kids from a previous wife, and we have 1 together. But 2 are black, they look black, and 2 look white. My daughter specifically looks white.
Everything she just mentioned makes love impossible.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hear that you feel love as an emotion personally. And even that emotion is not like objectively defined enough. But in a subjective sense, if the feeling that you feel for your husband is love, the mating, hormone that, binds people together, that humans adapted so that they could survive. I understand that. But you just basically said that your child's grandparents are taking part in a tradition of anti-black oppression. So that would mean that you put yourself in a proximity to danger, which when we look at historically and even to this day, is still prevalent in society, decided to ignore it, and now you're going to say that you have love. What is the difference between what you have and Stockholm Syndrome? I think she left.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like me saying, like, I'm living good, I'm eating well. Meanwhile, I'm eating out of trash cans, but you know what? There'll be some good cornbread in those trash cans. It's like you're taking like the bare minimum of like not even anti-racism, but just non-racism, and you're trying to say that that's enough for you, and that might be enough for you because you come from such a hostile environment that you just look at it as just when someone is non-racist, that's enough for me. And I get that, but that's still Stockholm syndrome as long as the threat of hostility still exists in that environment. So,
You're right, and you're right. I mean, I've been married to him for 3 years, so I definitely understand what you're talking about. But in all reality, I mean, I don't really look at color because I've dated all kinds of men, not just white men.
That's
And
beyond the convenience of you, because it's amazing how many Black people particularly say love is love. They don't see color. They love everybody. They wish people get over color, but it's not your community that has a problem with the color. And I think that that's a danger to yourself and to your child to say, it's like walking in delusion, thinking that the world is going to treat you nice because you see flowers and candy canes and everything so sweet. Because you name a place in a time where Black people were literally unaliving white women when they go to have birth at a 3 to 6 time rate, or name a place that I can go where there are sundown towns that Black people are unaliving people or putting them in trees. This is still happening in 2024. And I always ask, when did racism end?
it didn't. And it's like watching a movie with like Jason coming with his machete, and you're like, I'm gonna walk up to Jason because I don't see masks. I don't see machetes. I don't see any type of weapon. I don't see, you know what? I'm gonna just hug a dinosaur. Like you're in Jurassic Park and you're just like, I don't see species. I don't. Like the dinosaurs don't care. The dinosaurs see it. His
I'm
grandparents, his
I'm gonna hug.
grandparents see color. But I'm gonna go to the next guest. Appreciate you for coming up, Destiny. Wishing you the best. Shaka, what's going on, brother?
Peace, peace. Oh, y'all can hear me?
Yeah,
Yo,
we hear you.
get me.
Okay, good. I got my earphones in. Peace,
I got
peace.
skipped.
You got skipped.
How'd you end up where you at if you got skipped?
Yeah, everybody's been
What
going
do
in.
you? Oh, okay.
All right, hold on.
Peace, peace, peace. Peace to all my beautiful Black brothers and sisters. To the white tees in the audience, you might want to buckle up, buddy, because it's gonna be a hard one. To the snow lovers in the audience, if it get too hot for you, just stand up and fan off the goddamn truck, because it's gonna be hot. There is no such thing as interracial love. Man, you right. You right. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be real with you. I was in the background dancing, you know what I'm saying? Because all I was hearing from what I see in the comment section from a few brothers and sisters in here, all I'm hearing is, oh yeah, my son ain't Massachusetts. Me right. We both eat collard greens. He eats greens with me. He eats cornbread. He ain't white. He a nigga. My man is a nigga. I say it's massive. You know what I'm saying? They jogging, touching, boot licking. Come on, black man, black woman. Why y'all want everybody but the black man and the black woman? All right. Man, y'all don't want no bean pie. Y'all don't want none of grandmama homemade sweet potato pie. Y'all don't want grandmama homemade pecan pie. Y'all go to Susan Run with it like, baby, can I get a cherry pie? Can I just get a slice? Please? Please? I just want a slice. Please, baby. Got them big, beautiful, you got them big, beautiful African lips. You got them big, beautiful African lips. And you telling me you gotta bend over like this to get some sugar from a white woman, man. You gotta bend all the way over. You gotta be what you doing, black man. You want some sugar.
What
You
about
can't
this
get no
topic?
you can't get no sugar from Karen. You can't get no sugar from Dove. You can't get no sugar from Heather. You can't get no sugar from Bird. What is it doing? What you doing, black man? That goes to show you how the white team man has systematically and psychologically destroyed the black family, has destroyed the black nation, and now everybody now all our folks want everybody but black. You know what I'm saying? And they got the nerve to bring me with some jungle fever. To hell with jungle fever. The black man belongs with the black woman, and the black woman belongs with the black man. That's the only thing that we need going on.
No, that's not.
You know what I'm saying? Now I understand I might get a few tap dances up in here like the one above me. You ain't gonna talk about my master like that. I love mine. You ain't gonna talk about him like that. You ain't gonna talk about my master like that. All right, just because you know you got the chitlin juice running down his damn lip, Reverend Hog Mog up at the top. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, we can't go for it no more. Stop dancing in this snow. All right, my mama told me if it's cold outside, if it's a blizzard outside, stay in the house. What you doing? What you doing? Like, come on, bro. Stay in the house if it's a blizzard outside. You black. I see brothers blacker than me, brothers same shade as me, African like me. You know what I'm saying? Here they go outside. Oh yeah, man. If it's snowing, I'm going. No the hell I might. Yeah, stay in the house. Tell some snowing if I'm going. Karen can't do nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like Brother Legend said earlier, they can't act right. They don't love you. And quite honest, well, being quite honest with you, you then your mama, then our parents tell us that it's wrong to lay down with the devil.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to lay down with the devil. The devil?
mm.
Just because the devil got on a good dress, she got a little lock in. Just because she eating bean pies. She listen to a little Tupac once in a while. Listen to a little NBA young boy. You know what I'm saying? She know how to two step. She know how to dougie. She know how to stank your leg. She know how to do all that. You
She
gonna
know
bring
how to
her to?
stank your leg.
Yeah, she know how to stank your leg. She know how to pick up that phone and switch. She know how to pick up that phone and let you know what your place is too in America.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that's another thing. A lot of I think for us, a lot of us think we get immunity if we date these beasts, not knowing that we at the head of the trap. Then you know what I'm saying? You at the face of the trap. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping with some beasts, sleeping down with your enemy, the oppressor. You know what I'm saying? You laying down trying to get you a good night's sleep. All she thinking about how I'm gonna take this nigga money. How I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? So there ain't no such thing as interracial love. You know what I'm saying? The only it, they really just like us because of racial fetishization. That's really what it is. These white tea women fetishizing these black men, these white tea girls. I mean, yeah, these white tea men fetishizing our sisters. You know what I'm saying? Time to stop all that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the best solution is the best solution for one. For me, first off, we got to teach our babies, man. If we look, if she ain't got naps like you, don't bring her in my house. Don't even talk to her. If she got naps like that, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Got naps, don't bring her in my house. You know what I'm saying? If Doug don't know how to put no season on, no, I don't want him in my house. Don't bring him in my house. You know what I'm saying? So interracial love doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? We gotta keep this. We gotta keep living in our Africanity. You know what I'm saying? We gotta live for the people. You know what I'm saying? And then it'll be crazy is you'll get some brothers now. I done seen it on this app, and that was hard to believe. They'll be pro-black, you know, power to the people. Man, you go home, man, and they got the whitest of the white tea woman at home. They got the whitest of the white tea man at home. And they put down they poster of Khalid Muhammad and they pick up they poster of George Washington going free America.
Mm-hmm.
Free America. So yeah. That's all I wanted to say though, man. You know what I'm saying? It don't exist, man. You gotta keep it black, you know what I'm saying?
Always, always,
Keep
man.
it
Free the
low.
land. Appreciate you, brother.
Keep it real.
All right. That's Brother Shaka, man. That's a young brother that's always on code when he come on my live, man. He young too. He like 20, 19, 20 years old. He a young brother. Know what he talking about. What's going on,
I,
Trinket Love?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Doing well, brother. How you?
I'm very well, brother. I'm very well. Just wanted to come and touch on this subject real quick.
Yeah, talk to us.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I'm trucking love. I'm a black African American male. I'm 34 years old, and my pronouns are he, him.
All right.
Now, no, it ain't no such thing as interracial love. And I'm gonna say it like this: how could you possibly love someone that you don't know their history? You don't know anything about this person's background or anything of that nature, but you saying that you love them. You don't know what kind of hate was instilled into that person, because most white tea people come out the womb with a hateful spirit.
Mm.
So I feel like it's not too many of them don't that ain't got that trigger that they'll use the n-word quick as hell. And that's where a lot of people, they get it misconstrued when they say they found love in the person that they found love with. Go ahead and piss that individual off the right way and see if they don't throw that word right at you. See if you don't wind up, being called all kind of stuff from monkeys to everything else, because that's the stuff that they use.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that they use. Now, I know personally quite a few people who date outside of their race. I'm a married black woman, love my queen. Uh, that's I'm gonna die with her. I love the hell out of my wife. But most people that do those interracial things, man, them the ones that I be seeing have the most issues, where it be domestic issues, control issues, financial issues, because some, brothers will get with these YT women like, yeah, I'm gonna milk everything she got. Or some of the YT men, they get with the sisters and they look at them as something that's just, as a conquest. They look at something as taboo. So it's like, it's never a real foundation in those relationships. It's either somebody wants something out of that other individual. That's bottom line. I feel like it'll never be an equal power struggle. Like, they'll always look down on us. They always have and they always will. Like, I mean, that's just in their nature. That's
Mm-hmm.
how they was raised, that's how they was brought up. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there's no such thing as interracial love. I don't care what nobody say or what they try to tell themselves. You fooling yourself. That person ain't gonna never love you because they don't know nothing about you, just like you know nothing about them. That's all I have for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you having me up.
Yes, sir. As always. Yeah, no, that's facts, y'all. We can't have love in the midst of hostility. And a lot of us would prefer to ignore that hostility in favor of being seen in good light, or being a more palatable version of ourselves for those that actually perpetuate that hostility and created it in the first place. I would say interracial love might not exist, or doesn't exist, but interracial relationships as a means for survival does. A lot of y'all wouldn't be with your yogurt yodeler significant other if they didn't have a proximity to a safety, or a generational wealth, or just in society privilege that you yourself cannot have. So, that's something else. If the live is confusing you that you got to ask 99 questions down in the comments, do move on. You know what I'm saying? When I see a live about like quantum physics and I don't know what they talking about, I don't sit in the comments and just ask 99 questions. I just keep it scrolling because I don't know what they talking about. So if you got all these questions, then go ahead. But hop about them overseer epigenetics and just mind your own business. How about that? Let's try that. We know y'all are in your overseer mode. Y'all are continuing the tradition of your parents, your grandparents. So just keep it pushing.
They mad as hell that we choosing us instead of them.
And that's what happens. That's what happens. Because if this was a live of them talking about interracial love, if they had the same prompt up, if I seen, Jared Leto looking as person with the same prompt up, I'd have kept scrolling so fast. I wouldn't have thought twice to come up there and convince them of why it's okay to love black people. I would have kept it pushing, bruh. I wouldn't have even thought to get up there and try to sell my people to them. I think that's wild anyway. So I don't know what y'all are doing here. Aboriginal is the first race in the world, is the ignorant. Yo, get this person about it. That's the most ignorant thing I ever heard in my life. Aboriginal, first of that don't even make no sense. It didn't even exist until colonizers came. You know, Aboriginal just means you're not a colonizer, right? You know that's just what that word means? Anybody can be Aboriginal, anyone can be indigenous as long as they're not a colonizer. Like, colonizers came places and said they discovered it. And so when they got there and realized that other people was there, they started calling them people natives and indigenous because before that, that didn't exist. So we're not about to say indigenous people. That's a context of colonization. The first people in the world were not people that were colonized. So thus, they weren't considered Aboriginal or indigenous. They did celebrate their blackness, the blackness of their skin, and the blackness of black women. Shout out to the original queen. Y'all can look up the goddess Hathor and the goddess Nut if you want to know more about that. Or God, rather. They didn't genderize the word for their deities the way we do because of white patriarchy. But anyway, yeah, so they did celebrate the color of their skin representing wealth, fertility, and creation. And they did refer to their land as the land of the black. But they were definitely people on the continent we now call Africa. So let's go to the next guest. Nina's back up here. What's going on, Nina?
Hold on. Okay, there we go. So I agree with a lot of things that have been said. I think the one guy who was like 20 years old, the one brother you were saying, like, and he was saying some really funny stuff, and like parts of it, like, yeah, that's true. But I'm a person that I believe that racism isn't formed from hate. It's really formed from like ignorance. And ignorance is not a permanent thing. You can become educated. You can learn to, as in it's love or educate yourself on something that you don't know. And so one question that I had, I was like, okay, it's 2024. Why, as we Black people, and why is white racism a threat for us? And don't get me wrong, I know police brutality, I know, we need protection, we
Why are
need
you
love,
asking that question?
I'm sorry?
So then why are you asking that question?
Because people
How does racism exist? I know police brutality, medical racism, and, little things like, black men being the most unemployed and black women being the second most unemployed, even though they're the most educated demographic, little things like that. But how does racism really affect us, guys? Like, I don't know what was about to happen there. Shout out to Jean Day. She said, girl, go ask Zaddy. I can't, Nubian.
So just for the people that don't know, race wasn't just some random thing that popped up as like, oh man, we just really don't like you guys, so therefore, all right, race just pops up. Yeah, like, nah, that's not the explanation. YT people literally made the construct of race in order to justify the European transatlantic slave trade. They did it specifically for the only purpose of dehumanizing Black African people so that way they can continue to commit unimaginably brutal acts against us. It wasn't just some magical thing that popped up.
There were ignorant people for 300,000 years before racism was created. Let's just think of that. There was ignorant people for a long time, and nobody thought to be racist until it was time to take Africa's resources and exploit Africans to build empires. When that idea came around, then all of a sudden racism comes about. But for a long time, there was a lot of ignorant people, and nobody thought to put racism together. Racism is not natural. It is something that was created to justify the cognitive dissonance of those that wanted to exploit Africa, but also make it Africans' fault that they were being exploited. So they wanted to, because you can't dehumanize people and at the same time see them as human. So you have to say, oh, you're less intelligent. You're more primitive people. You're very tribal, less advanced people. So that's the reason why, we have to, keep all this gold we took from your land and keep it to ourselves. You just wouldn't know what to do with this, we're going to keep all of these resources that we're going to take back to our country and turn into wealth. And they still do it today. Look at the phone in your hand. Look at the coltan that comes from the Eastern DRC to make the phone in your hand, the lithium batteries in your Teslas. It's made by little children mining up coltan and cobalt in inhumane environments. And they're taking that resource, and some of y'all are going to say they're not taking it, they're buying it. They're trading in a US dollar that basically has no value for something that actually does have value. That's the evil of capitalism, is it tells you this paper with a white man's face on it is more valuable than whatever I'm paying for. If I get gold from you, if I get even a tomato from you, a tomato has value, right? If money stopped existing right now, you can still eat a tomato. That still has value. If money, capitalism, Wall Street all crumbled right now, you can still eat a tomato. That still has value. That's still something that you can live longer because you ate a tomato, right? So how did they make up a system to convince y'all that a paper that you cannot eat is equal to a tomato that can actually sustain you? You know what I'm saying? Or an apple or any other type of food. A piece of paper that you cannot run a car with, charge a phone with, do anything with, is equal to cobalt that we're going to use to power all of our electronics and all that other stuff. So, and then the paper itself is not even actual gold. It's not backed by gold. It's backed by a promise for a receipt for gold. It's called, if you look at your dollars, it's a note. It's a promissory note to a receipt for gold that doesn't exist anymore. So they just have, that's what inflation is. They're just printing dollars as they want. So anyway, I'll go on to the next guest. Studio 3057, what's going on?
How y'all doing? My name is Samaj. I'm 28, and I go by she, her pronouns.
All right.
I don't believe in interracial love or marriages. I feel like if it's not an intentional business deal to get us ahead, it's not worth it. Because what happens is either party, mostly black, becomes the advocate. Oh, I love him. I love her. Or our kids are this and that. Only people that have issues with race or these new age mixed people, they want to be considered both, and that's not possible. When you mix sugar with water, it doesn't become sugar water, it becomes a completely different mixture. And for most of our life growing up, especially in the 70s or 80s, where do you
when you mix sugar with water, it becomes sugar water. That's the mixture.
So I feel like, back in the 70s and 80s, most interracial people chose a side, whether you can pass for white or you can, post up in the black community. you had to pick a side. It wasn't no in between.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of us, because when you hear most interracial people experience, the negative comes from the white side that they want to be so a part of. And they despise us as Black people because they feel like we're creating a narrative for them so that way they can't be accepted in those environments. And that has nothing to do with us. Also, I feel like when it comes down to in today's time frame where our men are being unalived for just dating, going missing, even when you have these cases of Black men turning up in unmarked graves, it's all because of interracial relationships and the fact that people would despise you. And one thing we don't know is what someone is thinking. We can only assume by actions. And as we can see for the last 400 something years, they have been able to play the game pretty well. And now that they need our genetic DNA, they want to promote interracial relationships to save them, not to save us. It's never been about us. In every aspect of this game called Monopoly, it has never been to promote Blacks in no shape or form. So I feel like if interracial love is not based on business moves and really intentionally cleaning up our community, it don't serve no purpose for us, for anyone. And I think because we come from this narrative that Black men kind of have a bad reputation within our community, when we go and date outside, as long as those things aren't present, we feel like we hit the jackpot. He could talk to us crazy, and we know white people know how to say things in a nice, nasty way to where you can perceive it how you want, but they know what they meant. And I feel like because you don't have certain elements of poverty when it comes down to certain white groups, we kind of fold when we get into those relationships. And then it becomes, well, my bills are paid. Like the lady said, oh, he took care of me, but he broke you down mentally. He took care of you, but he exposed you to negative and emotionally impacting experiences with his mother. Ain't nobody going against their mom for nobody. Nobody. And so if something was to happen to her kids or to her, when the police come, the crime is already solved because we're not looking. Once they see who's the culprit, who's the suspect, we're not looking. We're not digging deep into this. It's whatever they say happened. So I feel like we have to focus more on what we can do to get our relationships back in order for our community, for our kids to be able to see more productive, loving, inclusive environments when it comes down to Black people. I'm tired of us trying to squeeze into spaces that we're not welcome. When everybody is stealing our styles, stealing our music, stealing our looks, stealing our hair. And then you have people in the comment, everybody all of a sudden, oh, I'm Black too. I'm Black too. I'm indigenous too. And I'm looking at their profile and it's giving real suspicious. So I feel like if we can focus more on us, put our money where our mouth is and not focus on nobody else, I think we can make some moves in 2024. I feel like a lot of things are shifting in our favor. I think we just have to be more strategic, keep our moves to ourselves. I know it's kind of hard with the technology we have nowadays, but I think once we get into that place of this is where we go from here, we can leave those people in the dust because we understand this whole system, this matrix that we're in was created for one purpose, and that's to keep us, chocolate melanated people, down at every level. When it comes down to music, when it comes down to education, when it comes down to property and land, they want to keep us at the bare minimum. So for anybody who's a savior for those people, who's an advocate for those people, remember why we're here. Remember that we have the least percentage of people in America, but we have the highest percentage in jail, highest in death rates, highest in crime rates, highest in poverty, but we have the least amount of people in America. We're 43 million compared to 200 million people in America. That's crazy.
Yeah, we not
So
but we're a minority. in America.
Yeah, we're a minority, but we're the majority for things that don't,
Right.
promote
Absolutely.
wellness or promote health or
I
promote
would
mental.
also add that ain't no such thing as a business deal with the devil that ain't going to benefit him. So, this
Well,
definitely
on
speaks to the
this
core.
level, we're thinking small on this level. I mean, if he's not able to put you in a position to get a business in your
Even if
name, I
he
mean, I want the money to
is,
still
even
circulate
if
back because
he
at the end of the day,
is, even if,
I watched a movie called The
sister,
Banker
sister,
Brothers.
sister, even if he is in a position to put you somewhere, it ain't going to be where you need to be. It ain't going to be where you need to be. Ain't no oppressor going to empower you to tear down his own kingdom. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. He's not going to empower you to liberate your community at the expense of what his forefathers built. That's not going to happen. It's going to be, I'll pay you to do your thing as long as it doesn't make me and mine too uncomfortable. And that's the problem when we as black people focus on anti-racism instead of building within our own community. That's when that becomes the problem, because anti-racism is a more palatable version of quote unquote pro-blackness, not real pro-blackness, but pro-blackness, that they can actually feel more comfortable in, because it is black people focusing on white people's problems. So it's racism is a white problem that affects the black community. They would prefer you focusing on solving the puzzle that they built for you to keep you back, than for you to say, you know what, screw this whole thing. I'm gonna just go build with my people, and when we come up, all y'all gonna get it. All y'all gonna come begging to us. Reparations, for example, is something that, as black people, we don't got no business trying to convince them to give us. That's something we don't got no business trying to convince them of that. Is it owed? Absolutely. Reparations is owed to us, y'all. Absolutely. There's been much damage. But if you're going to repair something, if that's like saying your neighbors steal your car. Your neighbors steal your car and park it right in their driveway, and you walk out the house and you see that your neighbor got your car right there. Are you going to go knock on your neighbor's door and ask for the car back? Knowing damn well the neighbor know they stole your car, know they mistreated you, took your ride. Are you going to go and say, please apologize, please give me my car back? Or are you going to go in your closet, get the click clack, and go get your car back? That's the two types. That's what we talk about. We talk about anti-racism and pro-blackness, especially when it comes to reparations. We as black people have done more divisive rhetoric and squealing for the crumbs from Master's table to try to get reparations, something that if they truly wanted to give us, they would have to do that. It would have to come from them. Your neighbor would have to say, you know what, I feel bad for taking your car. Here go the keys. Here go your car back. Here, like, it would have to come from them. You can't convince them to feel sorry enough, because if you try to convince them, they might give you reparations and racism will still continue. And there will continue to be multi-generational trauma because they gave you what you said you wanted, but they didn't mean to repair any damage. If the thin-lipped community had a change of heart after the Emancipation Proclamation, they would look at the incarceration system today and have that same change of heart and say, we did the Emancipation Proclamation to free these folks, but it didn't really work. So we're gonna do something else to get y'all right. But they didn't really have a change of heart. They just did symbolic victories. The Emancipation Proclamation is a symbolic victory to convince us that we can change Master's heart to good. We can make him feel some empathy for us. That's what the book Brother Timothy got down here. That's what he's talking about, post-traumatic slave syndrome. They lack apathy for us, y'all. They don't care. They thought making Juneteenth a national holiday was going to make us Oh, fall over. Oh, we free now, y'all. It's a holiday. I want to be able to celebrate Juneteenth with my white coworkers at work, and them give me a bowl of watermelon, and like this is what we wanted all this time, y'all. That's all we wanted. No, they ain't have no change of heart. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to get down to at the end of the day is, even if that person is in a position to put you somewhere that black people can't, because that person has the generational wealth stolen from your ancestors, if they're able to empower you as an individual, it does not mean they love your community, and they damn sure not going to empower you at the expense of their mother, their brother, their sister, their cousin, their aunt, their grandmother, their uncles. They not going to, all of their family, they're not going to empower you so that you could destroy the kingdom that they have built with their money from their economy that they stole from Africa, from Asia, from all around the world, from South America. They done stole and exploited all these other regions to make their economy. And now we sitting here going to fight each other for reparations for slavery for dollars that got a slave owner's face printed on it. That's what we want to fix slavery. We want something with the slave master's face printed on it. It don't make no sense. It's paradoxical.
There's like Citigroup, like the conversation of reparations, you know, brothers and sisters, is definitely something that is absolutely owed. But I need y'all to understand that the way in which YT supremacy works, the way in which YT genetic survival works, is that they cannot give it to us ever, because they depend on us being oppressed. They do not generate money. They do not maintain societal norm. They do not maintain civilizations and societies when they give us what is owed to us. They can't. That's not how their economic structures work. Literally, their economic structures depend on the oppression of black people. That is how they have it set up across the globe. So even, for example, Citigroup came out with a study, and Citigroup said that between the years 2000 up to 2020, the United States government missed out on $16 trillion of economic value directly because of their racist practices against black people. Multiple banking institutions, some that I have even worked at, literally have been flagged year after year after year for racial discrimination against black people and have been fined hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a real, but these are multi-billion-dollar institutions. So $100 million is like a parking ticket to them. They don't care. They're still going to keep doing it because to them, all right, I'll just pay the 10 mil. All right, I'll just pay the 100 mil. To us, that's a shit ton of money. To them, multi-billion-dollar institutions, that ain't nothing. And they know for damn certain they don't want black people in the same spaces. So I'm just letting y'all know they have set up the economic structure in which the way it is set up deliberately so that they could prevent black people from gaining access to these spaces, because they know that if we actually got the real amount of reparations that is actually owed to us, then the entire country would have to basically bankrupt itself in order to give the adequate amount that is owed to black people. And also at the same time, how the hell are you going to put a dollar amount on the mass unaliving of over 60 million African men, women, and children? Ain't no dollar amount in the world that pays for that.
Right. And so, yeah, exactly. The dollar amount. And I hear brothers and sisters, because they want that dollar amount because the oppression that we live in, the economic disenfranchisement is so great that we want that now. We want that reprieve. It's just, to be honest, that's not something that Blaze said it. Blaze said it in the comments. Blaze said it. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the only way I'm getting back what was stolen from me. I don't know about y'all begging ass red, white, and blue FBA, ADOS, red, white, and blue flag in your bio and all that. I don't know about y'all, but if it ain't that, and everybody not built that way, cool. If you ain't gonna do that, Come build with your people. Come build with your folks, and let's build our own. Let's have our own. Everyone ain't built like that. It's okay. We don't gotta fight them. Let's go build with our folks. Let's go build with ourselves, and we won't need reparations. We're not gonna need never reparations. We work together. Studio, I'm gonna let you talk again. You said you wanted to say something.
Okay, so yeah, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. And for me, I don't believe in begging, and I don't even believe in asking, because I feel like there's too much documentation showing and proving what we deserve. And even Maxine Waters talked about it, where the banks in their self have the evidence of the money and the families all the way up into our current generation of where it's supposed to go. So we're not begging. What I'm saying is I'm using tactics that they use. Anytime something of a black program was taken down, it was taken down through us. They will hire one of us that look like us to participate and pretend and infiltrate, and then boom, they're taken down. And I feel like we have to either operate the same to get the same results. We either operate the same or we fight. And I feel like interracial relationships shouldn't be nothing but business. And if you ever get a chance, and I don't know if you ever came across it, there's a movie called Bankers that really kind of inspired me. It was about two black men. It's the real story back in the 1950s to 60s. They were entrepreneurs who bought houses. They used a white man to go in and sign the deals. And this one particular company was kind of leery of the white man, and he decided to investigate. The banker decided to investigate the white man. He knocked on the door, and the brothers came. When the black man came to the door, he recognized, like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing, using a white guy to get the property, but they own them. And I felt like that's what we need to be doing. If it's not about bringing it back home, and I understand that they won't put you in a certain position, but we got to work from what we can work with. If I'm in a relationship or dealing with anybody outside of my race, if it's not bringing businesses back, then it's no purpose in it, because the Chinese people do it. They open up Chinese restaurants and beauty supply stores everywhere.
But they don't.
The
And it's
transfer of wealth doesn't work
Chinese
that way.
rand, but it's
Queen,
black money.
the transfer of wealth does not work that way.
What this is doing is speaking to a level of delusion, because if that was a thing since the 60s, we'd see black families having more. But what we don't realize, and I think I sent a video to Tia yesterday in regards to how they are smart enough to cut you out at every sector. And one thing about it, I love hearing black women, particularly because that's all that came up here today. Like, y'all have this interesting dynamic of the black community is so bad, but if you go outside of it, there's something that's going to save you. The weird reality to that is, where are the average people that are fighting for your oppression to be released? So how are you finding this random unicorn that cares so much about you or black community? It is an interesting dynamic to even think that you could take the wealth that these people have sown into their families. This ain't like black people got to stop thinking that they can attach themselves to someone else and they're going to thrive or survive on that. Because one of the biggest things I'm starting to realize is when it comes to black women, they're fishing for a level of wealth in these other communities, and you're getting even more oppressed. You're putting yourself in a position to have a financial strain on you, and those people still control and dominate you, and you are allowing them access to your body. There is no one is liberating you. I've said this 1,000 times, I keep saying they're okay with fucking you. They're not okay with freeing you. There's far too many people that have paired with non-black people, and ain't shit changed in the way that the society is moving for black people. You are only allowing these people to feel like they are not racist. I'm not racist. My wife is black. I'm not racist. My husband is black. And the first thing they use that to weaponize and stand on the bullshit of their racism, in the same breath, not doing anything to uplift or create any level of division in their families or break up the racism that they exude. The fact that two black women got up here and talked about, oh, well, you know, he called me the N-word, or they family is racist, but they was raised by them two people. The fact that woman sat here and said, his parents are bona fide racists. Why? Didn't you meet them before you started a relationship with this man? And the fact that she said his other children are by black women. Baby, he fetishizing y'all. And on some levels, white men do think y'all are easier because a lot of y'all get out here and you're so desperate for love and you hate black men so much that you look like complete idiots. You put a target on your back because anything, if y'all get traumatized by a black man, you immediately go into this all black men thing. And guess what? The target's on you because when you look outside yourself, everything you're complaining about, that man is going to offer in the beginning. But now you are prey. You are putting yourself in a position where you become a target that is easily pinned because all of a sudden this new thing that you've never experienced is so different. You just setting yourself up for failure. I love it. I think Timothy said it, or somebody said it a minute ago, or maybe it was Brother Legend. As soon as you piss them off, you get the real version. They show you who they really are. A lot of y'all entering these conversations don't even talk about racism. You can tell. A lot of y'all just go in this, you jump in head first. But when it comes to a black woman or a black man, you giving all the stipulations of what they got to have, what they got to do. Y'all are like, y'all give yourselves for the Walmart price and they getting the Nordstrom's. Because a black woman and a black man is Nordstrom's. And y'all out here selling yourselves for Walmart prices. Giving your body up to people that don't even see you as human. People that are asleep with doc. Let me shut up.
All right, y'all, I got to go. I got work to do for the community. I got work to do for B1 Initiative, man. Appreciate you, D and Timothy, and Studio 3057. Thank y'all for joining today. We had a productive discussion. I hope y'all were able to raise your consciousness just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for. Once again, you can join us. Link in the bio. Brother Timothy's putting it down there. B1initiative.org. Come and join us. We have meetings every Sunday. We are building with our brothers and sisters. We are not like these other TikTokers here. Okay? Don't get us confused with them. All right? You see, we got D up here. We got Timothy. Don't get us confused with them. All right? We ain't like everybody. Everybody else come up here and do all this. We actually organized. We actually got a community off of this app of over 775 Pan-Africans worldwide. Okay? So if you really want to do something and put more action to the rhetoric, then come on over, b1initiative.org. Donate. We're a grassroots organization. We're grassroots, y'all. You can donate $5 a month. And it will be a blessing because we're building Sankofopedia, an Afrocentric online encyclopedia for y'all to get all the knowledge that we're speaking from, for y'all to get all the Afrocentric, Pan-African, Garveyite knowledge that we're talking about. You'll be able to get it all in one place. And it's not just black history we're teaching, it's world history through an Afrocentric perspective. So we'll talk about the colonizers, but we're going to call them just that. Colonizers. We ain't going to tell you Christopher Columbus explored and discovered America. We're going to say Plymouth Rock landed on us. You feel me? So I really appreciate y'all coming and supporting. B1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. Sankofopedia. The video is on my profile. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your night. I'll share to you all. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. One love.